Hey everybody, welcome back to Brent's Backyard Redneckery. Today, we're going to try to get some blackberry cuttings to root. I take these blackberry cuttings, I got them from a plant at my grandfather's house. What we're going to do is mix up some half peat moss, half sand, maybe use a little bit of rooting hormone, try a couple different methods and see which one of these will work. So sit back and I'll tell you what you need to do. Let's get into it. All right, so the plan here today is to show you how to get a cutting, basically a stick, to root. I've got all these blackberry cuttings that I got from my grandfather's house. These are thornless blackberries. Much better than trying to pick through all that and get your fingers stuck with everything. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take this soil mixture, which is 2 parts peat moss to 1 part sand, just normal sand. We're going to put it in each one of these and fill them up. Now, on part of these cuttings, we're going to get them to where they look like a stick without all these leaves on them. And part of these we're going to stick straight into the soil, and part of them I'm going to use a tool to scrape off some bark and put on my rooting hormone. Now, in all honesty, I've never had any luck rooting anything, so this is going to be something new for me and hope that it works. But I'm going to label each one with and without rooting hormone to see which one works. We also need to keep the soil nice and moist, so I'm going to put these into my aquarium where I keep the humidity around 80%. And that will help us with keeping the soil nice and moist. So let's go ahead and get all this set up and we'll dig in, see what we come up with. All right, so the first thing we're going to do here is take our pruning shears, snip off all these leaves. So we have the nodes all the way up the little branch. Okay, and whenever you plant these, you want to make sure that your nodes are facing upward at an angle, not downward at an angle, because that is not the way it's intended to grow. And we need to have at least 2 nodes to go into our soil. So with this one, we'll trim it off at a 45 right below that node, just like that. Okay, and then we'll put that down inside of our soil. So we'll go ahead and get the leaves off of all these and do the same thing. Some of these are too long, like this one. So I'm going to lop off the top and snip off our leaves here. And we'll look for 2 nodes. And those 2 right there are pretty close together. So we'll do the same thing here. Cut it a 45. And I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this because I can't see up there, but that's not dried out, so we should be able to root off of that. And our node is there, and a node is there, so that'll go plenty far down inside of our bucket. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these ready, and then we'll move on to the next part. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we'll take one of these and just make a score around it with these handy dandy, whatever they're called, not pruning shears, but they're supposed to help strip off, make a cut for you in the bark there. Should be able to see that little cut right there. I hope. I can't tell. Since, like I said, can't see what I'm doing. This is all kinds of amateur hour. So we make that cut there. So hopefully you can see that there in my hand. And then we'll just take our knife and go down through here. We're going to basically whittle this off until we get into that underneath there, where we have a nice clean spot for our root hormone to go. And we want to clean off as much of that green looking funk is on there as we can. I guess that's just like the underbark. That's what we'll call it, the underbark. And once this is stripped off, we'll put the root growth hormone on these that are stripped like this. And the other ones we're just going to put straight into the soil. All right. We got it mostly down from the green to the white there. And that's what I want to see. Okay. Basically like air layering, only not on the plant. So I'm going to get 4 of these set up like this, and then 4 just normal. Then we'll start putting them in our soil. All right. Don't forget, make sure that your nodes are pointing upward when you shove this in your soil. And then pack it in nice and tight. Do that for all 4 of these. And then we'll put the rooting hormone on the others, pop those in. Now, with the rooting hormone, the only thing I'm worried about here is that it'll come off whenever I put it down in there. So I think first, I'm going to make a hole with the opposite end here, so maybe I don't lose as much hormone whenever I pop it in the hole. So we'll do that. We'll just take this, and you can take your branch, just pop it in there and roll it around in the hormone until it's good and covered, like so, and then pop it down in the hole. Pack that in once I get all these rotated in there. Okay, so you just want to make sure it's nice and coated before sticking it in. And that takes care of our rooting hormone side and our other side. Now we'll just press this down, and then we're going to water these and then stick the whole tray into the aquarium. That way we'll be able to water from the bottom instead of from the top, and let it try to suck in water from there rather than waterlogging it from the top. So now these are all in there. I'll go ahead and pour a little water on just to get them started with my homemade watering can made out of a Tidy Cat's old litter container. And the first time you water, it always takes a lot longer for the water to soak in because of the dryness of the peat moss. It doesn't take water well until it finally takes, and then it'll just start soaking it right in. As you can see there. Now it's starting to here and there. Then you can lift them up and tell. I mean, the sand's going to make it a little bit heavier. We'll just give it one more little bit of water, and then we'll go and shove them in the aquarium. All right, so those are good and soaked. I'm going to make sure I label these. That way I don't get them confused as to which is which. All right, so the black plant holders wouldn't fit in here, so I'm just having to put them in like this. I've labeled them obviously as rooting here and there. In the back, you can see my temperature and humidity gauge. But that's what we're going to do, and I'm just going to leave those in there until spring comes. I'm not going to try and check them to disturb any roots. I will pull them out this spring to see if they're ready to plant, and at that time we'll do a follow-up and see how everything looks. So in the meantime, if you guys have enjoyed yourselves, like this video, give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends. Come back next time, I'll tell you what you need to do.